She believes it's absolutely factual that if you're born a
Well,
man, you can't ever be a woman. She says it's a matter of fact.
well, biologically, she's correct,
Yeah.
but there are human beings here that feel that they are a woman. And I'm not saying that they're right or they're wrong. What I'm saying is when you introduce this level of hate into a debate, rationality goes out of the window and it becomes just an adversarial argument. There is no right or wrong in this, and I don't think she's in any way contributed in a productive way to us get into a.
See, this is the disease of an ideology that never bothered to debate people, and the only solution to every crisis was censorship. They're basically saying like the most retarded things imaginable. So biologically, she's correct, but bringing this reality into a conversation causes hatred and despair, and rationality goes out the window. Like, can you imagine this, apply to any type of science? Like, someone is actually trying to invent a vaccine or, a cure for cancer, and they would be told it's like, yes, 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 like, your scientific theory is correct, but, like, bringing it into our conversation is it's important though to first acknowledge the fact that if this was a religion, J.K. Rowling would be Satan or Satan adjacent, at least for these people. Like they're absolutely terrorized of her. And I think the reason they're terrorized is not that they can't identify as a woman, right? Like, let's be honest, Britain is still one of the most progressive places on planet Earth. It's because the grift is going away. Like, they were making so much money, they had a lot of prestige, they had a lot of reputation, they had a lot of charities, and now they're noticing that people are finally standing up to them and they're not able to dominate the public discourse. They used to actually say this, when privilege is the norm, equality feels like oppression. Now, let's actually talk a little bit about how it got to this point, because it's very interesting. Like, how did the transgender movement manage to become from something that was fringe into something that was dominating society? Like, never before in human history did we get a movement that managed to flip from one extreme all the way to the other. Now, I can only talk about from my personal experience, and I'm pretty sure that it's kind of similar to what other people notice, but when I was young, the culture was absolutely different, and my parents sent me to an evangelical school. Romania is Christian Orthodox, but evangelicals weren't unheard of, and they would actually have like these schools in a way to try to convert people to their heresy and move them away from the true Orthodox faith. When we actually started, almost all of us were Orthodox, and by the end, I and two other people didn't convert to evangelicals. I became an atheist. Two others remained Orthodox. But that's beyond the point. What I want to say is that the culture at that school was very interesting. Like, first and foremost, gayness, like homosexuality, was used as an accusation. Very similar to how now people accuse others on social media of being a Nazi, or accuse other people of being racist or pedophiles or whatever. Like the type of accusation that you use in order to try to dominate someone, whether it's true or not. And for example, if you were a guy that was listening to Justin Bieber, what, are you gay? Are you homosexual? Right? Like that was the vibe back then. That's how they used it. Now, obviously, a lot of people found it a little bit unreasonable, like mockingly, the same way that, concept creep goes into all these insults and the insult loses its meaning. Just like racism lost its meaning, misogyny lost its meaning, so too homosexuality started losing some of the mysticism. But what I've noticed is that the people at my school, they literally, unironically despised anyone that was a homosexual. And the interesting thing is that before the internet, none of them actually have met a homosexual, like myself included. I've never met one of them, but I was being trained and groomed in order to hate them as if they're descendants of Satan himself. And so when the internet became a thing, people actually started playing video games like World of Warcraft, Call of Duty. They went on various forums, and eventually they met homosexuals. And they were shocked to see that, well, hold on a little bit. I was actually told that there will be far worse than they actually are. And so when the LGBT movement came along, most people were like, well, why should we hate them, though? Like, is there a reason? Like, does it benefit me in any way if I start hating them? It's like, no, right? Like, if they want to get married and do their thing, let them get married and do their thing. And that was pretty much how the Obama movement actually managed to legitimize, right, the LGBT. It came through acceptance. Not acceptance, actually, tolerance, I think is the correct word. Yes, like tolerance. In other ways, it's like, look, the same way I can tolerate a kid screaming and crying into an airplane, so too can I tolerate two people marrying that aren't part of my household, part of my neighborhood, right? Now, that was the beginning, right? Like, that's how it all started. Where do the trans people fit in all of this? Because at the time, transgenderism wasn't even being discussed. Well, the trans movement, they surfed the LGB movement. They basically joined it and then co-opted it, and then use their network with the academia in order to give it more legitimacy and to make it more militant so that it can serve the politicians, more importantly, the Democrats. And so this is when you moved from, like, what do I care if, like, two people do something in their own bedroom to the bedroom becoming into my house, right? Because now you have to use the correct pronouns. Now, if your child wants to transition, you have to agree, otherwise it's child abuse. Now you need to accept that your daughter can see a man's penis in a changing locker, and if you disagree, you're a bigot. Now you can you have to accept that a person that commits a crime can identify as a woman and be sent into a women's prison. It got so bad that even Family Guy, right? They made a joke where, excuse me, ma'am, you can't watch porn. You're in a public place. And it's like, oh, I'm transgender. And the other person goes, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Just do whatever the fuck you want. You know, because it literally, like, gotten that bad. Because there was a lot of grifting involved, a lot of incentive. And again, like, they had the academic prestige and the academic backing in order to push their ideology. But the problem is, you know, you can push so much until you start to piss off a lot of normies. And a lot of people, they got upset. Like, for example, imagine you're a guy that doesn't care about politics, but you like to watch a VTuber. It's like your only joy in life. You know, you come home from work and you like to watch this anime girl spurging out on your screen. And then all of a sudden you see her under attack, you see her doxxed, you see people going after her because she's playing J.K. Rowling's game. Right? She's playing Hogwarts Legends. I mean, again, the level of mental illness and insanity to think that society will look kindly at you doing that, you know, when your entire movement basically got legitimacy over the fact that you were oppressed, and people said, well, maybe we shouldn't oppress them, right? And what you do when you get the legitimacy is like, okay, we need to start oppressing other people that think differently than us. And I think, like, that's the reason why it got to this point, is because their entire legitimacy of the movement was tolerance. It's like, we should have a tolerant society, right? And when they attacked their own legitimacy and said, no, now that we're where we don't want a tolerant society, we just want to reverse the oppression. Like, we actually agree with what the Christians did, but we just want to replace the Christians. So we get to say that your God is false, like we get to erase and invalidate Christianity. You do not get to say that our pronouns are false. We get to actually lecture what you get to see in the movies and videos, and we get to, you know, like, try to turn every single female character to look more transcoded. And if you complain, you don't have a right to complain. Like, you don't have a right to say that. You don't have a right to fire us, but we're going to fire you. And so when you attack the own legitimacy of your own movement, well, obviously, eventually, a lot of people are going to wake up and they're going to say, well, hold on a little bit. How did it get to this point? And this is what happened, right, around the world. And it's also like the thing with children. If your entire ideology is like, well, if a person identifies as a woman, then they become a woman. And so if they become a woman, they should be placed in a woman's prison. If they become a woman, then they can get into a woman's shelter. If they become a woman, they can compete in women's sports. And so the question is like, well, does the person have to be sincere when they become a woman? Like, do they actually view themselves as a woman, or do they just claim it to get the perks? And the social justice activists, they never had an answer to this, right? Like, they keep saying, well, yeah, but like men's brains and women's brains are different. And it's like, well, okay, if that's the case, when someone becomes a woman, can't we just do a brain scan to see if they're legitimately becoming a woman? Like, can we have some objective standard? And the answer seemed to constantly be no. Okay, so like you can have a lot of grifters, you can have a lot of people, and then what about the child whose brain hasn't fully developed? And the child wants to be an astronaut, you know, like people that, like parents that genuinely would play into that, right? Like if your kid wants to be an astronaut and you like consistently say, yes, no, you actually are an astronaut. And you tell all of your family friends to behave as if the astronaut has entered the room, right? Like if a parent did that, you wouldn't call it necessarily like child abuse, but you would definitely say that's not a good type of education, right? It's not a good type of upbringing. To feed your deliriums to your kid, like if he has an imaginary friend, and we all have to pretend that yes, no, actually he does have an imaginary friend, right? But for some reason, if the child says I'm a different gender, oh, okay, well, let's see if we can start calling a doctor, you know, see if we can put him on some puberty blockers, you know. I mean, right? And then you have like the judges as well, and then you have divorces, like which complicate things. Like what if one parent wants something and one parent wants differently? If we get to believe that, you know, like there are some disingenuous people out there, then surely like some cases you would have the trans activists actually siding with the person that doesn't want the kid to transition. And they would say, you know what, we actually do believe that, yes, like this child isn't really trans. Instead, what is happening is that the mother desperately wants to have a trans child, but like that's not how it works, right? Like if they were consistent with their ideology and they were sincere and they weren't power hungry, you would have some cases like that, but like I can't think of any. And so this is why they lost power. It's because they attacked their own legitimacy. And legitimacy is important if you want to have power. Legitimacy basically is translated to why do we put up with their shit? And when people don't have an answer to that, you have a legitimacy crisis. Let me know what you guys think though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.